You know, every time you pick up your phone or use your laptop, you're holding this tiny, intricate city of electronic components. But have you ever wondered how that city actually gets built? Well, today, we're going to demystify that. We are taking a deep dive into the process that turns a digital blueprint into a real physical circuit board you can hold in your hand. Okay, so this whole journey really starts with understanding two completely different but totally connected concepts. On one hand, you've got the schematic. You can think of this as the what. It's the recipe, right? It tells us what components we need and what they're all connected to logically. And then you've got the layout. This is the how. This is the actual map that shows us how to physically arrange all those parts and all those connections on the real board. And that's the big question, isn't it? How do we take that abstract idea, that schematic, and turn it into something real, something tangible that actually works? That's exactly what we're going to break down today. We're going to walk through that entire journey from a simple idea to a finished product. So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the overall workflow. Then we'll get into the fun stuff, placing components and routing all the connections. After that, we'll cover the super important rules and common mistakes to avoid, and we'll finish up with how a design gets checked and ready for the factory. All right, before we get into the nitty-gritty, let's just zoom out for a second and look at the big picture. Designing a circuit board isn't just a free-for-all. It's actually a very methodical process, a kind of engineering roadmap that guides an engineer from start to finish. And this is that roadmap. It all begins with the schematic, that conceptual plan. From there, we pick the actual physical parts, and then, and this is a really key step, we assign each one a footprint. A footprint is just its physical shape, the pattern of pads it solders onto. It's only after that step that we can really start the layout itself, placing everything, routing it, and finally, checking our work. Now, to manage all this complexity, engineers use some seriously powerful software. We call it EDA, for Electronic Design Automation. And you've probably heard of some of these, like Altium Designer, KiCad, or Eagle. These are basically the digital workshops where these incredible electronic cities get designed. Okay, so we've got a roadmap. Let's take that first real step into the physical world of our board, and that is component placement. Now, this isn't just about making everything fit. This is a strategic game, almost like a game of electronic chess, where every move you make has consequences later on. And just like chess, there are opening moves that set you up for success. You want to group related components together into little neighborhoods. Like here's the power supply section, over here is the brain, the microcontroller. You also want to keep parts that talk to each other as close as possible. Shorter paths are almost always better. It all comes down to creating a logical flow across the board, maybe from input to processing to output. So our components are all set up on the board. Now it's time to build the rows and highways that connect them all together. This phase is called routing. Routing is all about creating these little copper paths, which we call traces. These traces are literally the veins of the circuit board. They carry all the signals and power, the electrical lifeblood, between every single component. And they're not wires that you add on top. They are physically etched right into the copper of the board itself. So how do we actually draw these highways? Well, engineers have two main options. You can do it by hand, manual routing. This is where you meticulously draw every single trace, giving you maximum control, which is absolutely critical for complex or high-speed circuits. Or you can use something called an auto router, where the software tries to connect everything for you. It's way faster, but honestly, it often lacks the strategic elegance of a human designer. And believe it or not, the actual shape of these traces is a huge engineering decision. The width, for example, determines how much electrical current it can handle. Think of it like a bigger pipe can carry more water. Length is critical too. Shorter is always better for reducing noise and delays. And the spacing between them, that prevents signals from leaking into each other, a problem we call crosstalk. Now, most modern boards aren't just a single flat surface. They're like multi-story buildings with layers stacked on top of each other. And very often, engineers will dedicate an entire floor, a whole solid sheet of copper, to be the power plane, and another one to be the ground plane. This creates an incredibly stable electrical foundation for the whole circuit, which is just fantastic for reducing noise. So what happens when you have a trace on the top floor that needs to connect to a trace on a floor way down at the bottom? Well, that's where something called a via comes in. A via is basically a tiny copper-plated hole that acts as an elevator, letting signals travel vertically between the different layers of the board.
And of course, not all elevators are the same. You have your standard through via, which goes all the way through the entire board. But for really dense designs, we have cleverer options. A blind via connects an outer layer to an inner one, but doesn't go all the way through. And then you have buried vias, which are totally hidden. They connect two inner layers without ever coming to the surface. Pretty neat, right?
But here's the thing. Just connecting the dots is really only half the story. When you're dealing with the incredibly high speeds of modern electronics, the laws of physics start to play tricks on you. The layout itself can create all sorts of problems that can cause the entire circuit to fail. And this brings us to a super important concept called signal integrity. It's basically the science of making sure that when a signal travels from point A to point B, it arrives looking exactly the same as when it left. We need those ones and zeros to be perfectly crisp and clear. If they get distorted or corrupted by noise along the way, you get errors and your device just won't work correctly. So, to achieve good signal integrity, engineers are constantly fighting a battle on three fronts. You've got EMI, or electromagnetic interference. That's making sure your board doesn't radiate noise that messes with other electronics. Then there's just general noise control on the board itself. And finally, you have thermal management, making sure all those tiny components don't get too hot and cook themselves. And these challenges lead to some classic layout mistakes. For example, a poor grounding scheme is probably the #1 cause of noisy, unreliable circuits. Another big one is having unnecessarily long traces, which can accidentally act like little antennas picking up or broadcasting noise. And then there's that crosstalk we talked about, where signals in parallel traces can interfere with each other. So let's say we've placed all our components, we've routed all the traces, our digital design is done, but we can't just send it to the factory yet. There is one last absolutely critical phase: verification and getting it ready for manufacturing. This is where we check our work to make sure it can actually be built. And the most important part of this is something called a design rule check, or DRC. This is an automated check where the software scans your entire layout and compares it against the factory's rules. Things like how close traces can be or the minimum size of a hole. It's a lifesaver, and it catches so many potential manufacturing problems. So the engineer runs the DRC, along with a few other electrical checks. Once it comes back with 0 errors, the design is good to go. The final step is to export the design into a set of standard files that the factory's machines can understand. And these standard files are called Gerber and drill files. You can think of them as the universal language of PCB manufacturing. The Gerber files describe each and every layer of copper, the solder mask, the text on the board, everything. And the drill file, well, that tells the machines exactly where to drill every single hole. And really, that's the ultimate takeaway here. A schematic might be the soul of an electronic device, but the layout is its body. It is the crucial bridge that turns a brilliant idea into a reliable, high-performing product that you can actually manufacture and hold in your hand. This process is truly where engineering decisions become physical reality.